Welcome back to Coins Tool. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and overlooked coins in American numismatic history, the 1967 Washington quarter dollar. What might look like just another quarter in your change could actually be worth a fortune. So don't go anywhere because you could be holding on to a rare piece of American history worth thousands, even millions, of dollars. Let's go back to the year 1967. America was in the midst of cultural revolution. The Vietnam War, civil rights movements, and space exploration dominated the headlines. But in the world of coins, something quietly changed forever. In the aftermath of the coin shortage of the early 1960s, the U.S. Mint was under heavy pressure to produce more coins and cut down on costs. One major decision came in 1965 when the Mint removed all silver from circulating quarters. That change affected the 1967 Washington quarter, making it a coin of interest for collectors even today. The 1967 quarter is unique because it was struck during a time when the U.S. Mint had suspended the use of mint marks to discourage coin hoarding. That's right. If you look closely, you'll notice there is no D for Denver, no S for San Francisco, and no P for Philadelphia. All 1967 quarters were struck without a mint mark, which adds to its mystery and collectible value. Now, most 1967 Washington quarters were minted using a copper-nickel clad composition, not the 90% silver used in earlier years. But here's the twist. Some extremely rare 1967 quarters have surfaced that were mistakenly struck on silver planchets. These errors are extremely valuable. In fact, a 1967 quarter struck on a silver planchet has fetched as much as $4,000 at auction. That's a huge profit for a 25-cent coin, but we're not done yet. There are also rare varieties of the 1967 quarter that include dramatic double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and broad-struck errors. Collectors will pay hundreds, even thousands, for these types of mint errors depending on their severity and condition. Imagine stumbling across one of these errors in your pocket change. That could be life-changing. Even high-grade, uncirculated 1967 quarters without any errors can demand serious money in the collector's market. For example, if your 1967 quarter is graded MS67 or higher by PCGS or NGC, it could be worth over $1,000 due to its exceptional condition. These are not common, and finding one in such high quality is like winning the coin lottery. And then, there's the crown jewel. A 1967 Washington quarter graded MS68 by PCGS, with exceptional luster and flawless surfaces, was sold in a private transaction for an eye-popping price of over $9,000. That's right. One small quarter, one unbelievable payday. So what should you look for in your 1967 Washington quarters? First, inspect the coin for any unusual weight. A silver planchet weighs about 6.25 grams, while a clad version weighs around 5.67 grams. If your 1967 quarter is heavier and lacks the copper stripe along the edge, you might be holding a rare silver strike. Next, grab a magnifying glass and examine both the obverse and reverse for any signs of doubling, misalignment, or off-center designs. These could indicate a valuable error coin. And of course, the overall condition matters. The higher the grade, the higher the value. Store your coin properly. Avoid cleaning it. And if you suspect it may be rare, consider sending it to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC for professional evaluation. Today, the 1967 Washington quarter is more than just 25 cents. It's a potential gold mine, a hidden gem in your coin jar, and a window into a critical time in U.S. history. From rare silver errors to mint-condition treasures, this quarter could be your ticket to a valuable discovery. So, check your pockets, your piggy banks, your old coin collections. That ordinary-looking 1967 quarter could be the next million-dollar story waiting to be told. The current market is hot, and collectors are always searching for the next rare piece to add to their collection. Whether it's $500, $5,000, or even $50,000, you never know what that shiny little coin is worth until you take a closer look. We're diving deep into the world of valuable coins and exploring the incredible story behind the 1974 Washington quarter dollar coin. At first glance, this coin may look like just another quarter from pocket change, but what you're about to discover will completely change how you look at your spare change forever. Some of these 1974 quarters have fetched massive amounts of money in the collector market, and the reasons behind their value are nothing short of fascinating. Let's begin with a little background. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Designed by John Flanagan, the coin features a classic portrait of the first president of the United States on the obverse, and an eagle with outstretched wings on the reverse. For over 65 years, This design remained largely unchanged until the advent of the state quarters program in 1999. But in 1974, we were still in the classic era of Washington quarters, and while millions were produced that year, a few stand out as incredibly rare and highly valuable. The 1974 Washington quarter was struck at three different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia minted coins bear no mint mark. The Denver coins are marked with a small d, and the San Francisco coins, struck primarily for proof sets, carry the S mint mark. While most 1974 quarters were minted in copper-nickel-clad composition, as was the standard starting in 1965, the mint also experimented with different types of metal for testing and transitional purposes. This is where the real excitement begins. Among the most prized and legendary versions of the 1974 quarter are those that were mistakenly struck on a 40% silver planchet, left over from 1970s-era Eisenhower dollar production or earlier proof coinage materials. These era coins are phenomenally rare. Imagine finding a coin that looks just like a typical quarter but rings like silver and sells for thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars at auction. That's the reality for some extremely lucky collectors. Now let's talk numbers. In terms of mintage, over 801 million 1974 quarters were struck in Philadelphia, over 353 million in Denver, and more than 2.6 million proofs in San Francisco. That's more than 1.1 billion coins in total. So why are some of them worth so much money? The answer lies in condition, mint errors, and composition. Let's start with condition. Collectors grade coins based on their state of preservation, using a 70-point scale where 70 represents a perfect, flawless coin. Coins graded MS65 and above, meaning they're in mint state condition, can command much higher prices than those that have circulated. A 1974 quarter in average circulated condition is typically worth just 25 cents, its face value. But in pristine, uncirculated condition, that same coin can sell for between $15 and $100 or more depending on its luster, strike, and overall appeal. But what really pushes the value into the thousands are errors and varieties. One example is the 1974 D Washington quarter with a double die obverse. This rare error occurs when the coin's design is accidentally stamped twice in slightly different positions, creating a ghost-like doubling effect on the date, lettering, or George Washington's profile. If you happen to own a 1974 D double die quarter in high grade, you could be sitting on a treasure worth upwards of $500 to $2,000 depending on market demand. Then there are those extremely rare 1974 silver planchet error coins. These were never intended to exist, but due to leftover blanks or mechanical mistakes, a few slipped through. A verified 1974 Washington quarter struck on a silver planchet can easily fetch more than $10,000 at auction, and in some cases, if it's in brilliant uncirculated condition and authenticated by grading companies like PCGS or NGC, it could sell for as much as $25,000 or more. These are the dream finds every collector hopes to discover. Even more astonishing is the story of one incredibly rare specimen, an ultra-high-grade 1974 S-proof quarter that sold for over $14,000 due to its perfect deep cameo contrast and flawless mirror finish. It was certified as PR70 DCM, a grade that means perfection in both design and condition. Coins like this are almost mythical in the coin world AS of the current 2025 market. Here's a breakdown of the most valuable types of 1974 Washington quarters. A standard 1974 quarter in circulated condition is still worth face value. 25 cents. A well-preserved MS65 example from either the Philadelphia or Denver mint can range from $25 to $100. A certified double die error coin from the Denver mint in high mint state condition can be worth $1,000 to $2,000. A 1974 quarter struck on a silver planchet can range from $5,000 to $25,000 depending on grade and authentication. An ultra-rare 1974 S-proof coin in PR70 Deep Cameo can sell for $10,000 to $14,000 or more. So how can you tell if you have a valuable 1974 Washington quarter? First, check for mint marks and any unusual coloration or ringing sound. Silver coins have a distinct high-pitched ring when dropped gently. Weighing your coin on a precision scale can also help. A standard clad quarter weighs 5.67 grams, while a silver quarter weighs around 6.25 grams. If you find a coin that's heavier than usual and appears to have a silver sheen, don't spend it. Get it graded by a professional. We're diving deep into a coin that many people overlook, yet some examples of it are worth an absolute fortune. We're talking about the 1981 D Washington quarter dollar. Yes, That small silver-toned coin that might just be sitting in your pocket change or tucked away in an old jar could be worth thousands, or even millions. You don't want to miss a single second of this video. Let's start with the origins. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of the first president of the United States, George Washington. The coin was designed by John Flanagan, and it quickly became a permanent part of American currency. By 1981, the Washington quarter had been a staple of everyday transactions for nearly 5 decades. But what makes the 1981 D version special? The D mint mark on this coin stands for the Denver Mint, one of the 3 primary facilities where U.S. coins are produced. In 1981, the Denver Mint struck more than 575 million Washington quarters. That's a massive number, but as any seasoned collector knows, rarity isn't just about mintage figures. It's about condition, errors, variations, and demand. And the 1981 D quarter checks some major boxes in all these areas. Let's talk about the basics. The standard 1981 D Washington quarter is made of a copper-nickel clad composition. It weighs 5.67 grams, with a diameter of 24.3 millimeters. It features George Washington's bust on the obverse, with the word Liberty at the top, In God We Trust on the left, the date 1981 at the bottom, and of course, that small D mint mark just beside the ponytail. The reverse features the American eagle, wings spread, perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches below, symbolizing peace and strength. Now here's where things get really interesting. Although millions were made, finding a 1981 D quarter in mint state, especially MS 67 or higher, is extremely difficult. Most of these coins entered circulation and picked up nicks, dings, and wear marks along the way. But if you happen to find one in pristine, untouched condition, you're in luck. Let's look at the auction records. In 2021, a rare 1981 D Washington quarter graded MS 67 by PCGS sold for a staggering $8,400. That's right, $8,400 for a quarter. But that's not even the ceiling. Some collectors estimate that a perfectly flawless 1981 D coin in MS 68 or higher condition, if ever discovered, could fetch over $50,000, and some believe it could even cross the 6-figure mark at a prestigious auction. That kind of value for a coin that originally cost just 25 cents is mind-blowing. But wait, there's more. Not all high-value 1981 D quarters are pristine. Some are worth thousands because of dramatic mint errors. That includes double die obverse, off-center strikes, broad strikes, and even coins struck on the wrong planchets. For example, if a 1981 D quarter was accidentally struck on a nickel or penny planchet, that coin becomes an extreme rarity. Depending on the severity and clarity of the error, these coins can sell for thousands of dollars to the right buyer or auction house. Another exciting aspect for collectors is the full strike and strong luster. Most 1981 D quarters were weakly struck, and their details tend to be soft or blurry. A full strike with crisp details on the eagle's feathers and Washington's hair is very rare. Combine that with booming original mint luster and no visible contact marks, and you have a coin that every serious Washington quarter collector wants in their collection. Let's talk current market trends. In today's coin market, demand for high-grade clad quarters is on the rise. Collectors are beginning to realize how scarce high-grade examples really are. Most circulated pieces are only worth face value, maybe $1 or $2 at best. But once you get into MS 65 and higher, especially those graded by reputable grading companies like PCGS or NGC, the value skyrockets. As of now, a 1981 D quarter in MS 65 condition is selling for around $40 to $60. At MS 66, you might get $150 to $200. MS 67, now we're talking $800 to $1,500. And as mentioned before, MS 68 could easily soar past $25,000, possibly up to $100,000 if the coin has exceptional eye appeal. One coin in a private collection is even rumored to have been offered for nearly $2 million because of its flawless condition and unusual planchet error. Though the sale remains private and unconfirmed, what should you look for? First, examine your coin under strong light. Look for strong luster, no visible wear, and sharp detail. Use a magnifier to check the finer points like the hair, the lettering, and the eagle's feathers. Second, weigh the coin on a precise scale. If your quarter weighs significantly less or more than 5, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of the 1978 Washington quarter dollar. This coin might look ordinary at first glance, but what lies beneath is a surprising history, rare varieties, and some versions of this coin that are now worth thousands. Yes, even tens of thousands of dollars. So stick around to find out how a simple quarter could be hiding big money in your pocket change. The 1978 Washington quarter is part of one of the longest-running and most iconic coin series in United States history. Originally introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the Washington quarter became so beloved by the American public that it permanently replaced the standing Liberty quarter. By 1978, the Washington quarter had already seen decades of production. The obverse features the classic left-facing portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan, which was based on a bust created by Jean-Antoine Houdon. The reverse displays a heraldic eagle with outstretched wings clutching arrows and an olive branch, symbolizing both war and peace, encircled by the words United States of America, e pluribus unum, and quarter dollar. The 1978 Washington quarter was struck at 3 different U.S. mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia quarters carry no mint mark. The Denver quarters feature a small D, and San Francisco proofs carry an S. Now let's talk about mintage numbers. In 1978, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 521 million quarters. The Denver Mint produced over 287 million, and the San Francisco Mint created about 3.1 million proof coins. Because these were high mintage coins, most circulated 1978 quarters are still only worth face value. But here's where it gets interesting. Some rare errors and high-grade examples can turn these coins into serious cash. Let's start with the high-grade coins. If you have a 1978 quarter in near-perfect condition, uncirculated with sharp details and no signs of wear, you could be holding a treasure. Coins graded MS67 or higher by PCGS or NGC can fetch hundreds, and sometimes thousands, of dollars at auction. Why? Because such flawless examples are rare, even among the millions minted. Most coins from circulation have scratches, dings, or wear from decades of handling. A perfect or nearly perfect coin is a collector's dream. In one notable auction, a 1978 D quarter graded MS67 Plus by PCGS sold for an astonishing $4,935. That's right, just under $5,000 for a single quarter. Other MS67 examples have fetched prices ranging from $800 to over $2,000 depending on demand and market trends. But that's not all. Error coins from 1978 can also bring big money. These are coins that were struck with mistakes during the minting process. Some of the most valuable 1978 quarter errors include off-center strikes, broad strikes, double dies, and coins struck on the wrong planchet. For example, a 1978 quarter struck on a nickel planchet, meaning it was accidentally made using a 5-cent blank instead of a quarter, can sell for over $1,000 depending on condition. A dramatic off-center strike with missing or incomplete details might fetch anywhere from $250 to $1,200. Double die obverse coins, where the lettering or date appears doubled, are highly sought after and can go for hundreds of dollars when certified. Another intriguing variety includes the transitional errors. Although not as common in 1978 as in other years like 1982 or 1999, transitional planchet errors, where a coin is struck using the wrong metal composition from a previous or later year, can be incredibly valuable. Always weigh and inspect your coins carefully. A genuine transitional error is a rare and exciting discovery, and don't forget proof coins. The 1978 S-proof quarter, made exclusively for collectors, features an extra sharp strike and mirror-like finish. While most proof coins from this year are worth only a few dollars in typical condition, perfect examples graded PR70 can command prices up to $150 or more. Deep cameo versions, where the contrast between the frosted design and mirror field is especially strong, can add even more value. So, how do you know if your 1978 Washington quarter is worth big money? Step 1. Check the mint mark. Is it a D, an S, or none at all? That helps narrow down the value range. Step 2. Look at the coin's condition. A coin with no scratches, strong details, and full luster has a higher chance of being valuable. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to examine the finer features like Washington's hair, the feathers on the eagle's chest, and the date. Step 3. Weigh the coin. A standard clad quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. If it's significantly heavier or lighter, you could have an error coin. Step 4. Consider sending it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. A certified grade boosts your coin's value and makes it easier to sell or auction. And finally, keep your eyes open at garage sales, flea markets, or rolls of coins from the bank. You never know when that next rare 1978 quarter could turn up in the most unexpected place. People throw these coins into jars or forget about them in drawers, not realizing they might be sitting on a mini fortune. In conclusion, while most 1978 Washington quarters may be worth just 25 cents, a rare few can be worth hundreds, thousands, or even close to $5,000. It's all about condition, rarity, and mint errors. So before you spend that quarter, take a closer look. It might just be your lucky day. We're diving deep into one of the most overlooked yet surprisingly valuable coins in the world of numismatics, the 1983 D Washington quarter dollar. You might be surprised to know that a simple coin you could find in your pocket change might actually be worth hundreds, thousands, or even more. The 1983 D quarter is not just any coin. It's a coin with an extraordinary backstory, unique characteristics, and a growing demand in the collector's market. So stay tuned as we uncover why this 1983 Denver Mint quarter has become a true modern treasure in the world of rare coins. Let's begin with the historical context. The Washington quarter was first minted in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first president of the United States. The design featured Washington's profile on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. This classic design stayed in place for decades and was still in use in 1983. But in that year, something very significant happened that affected the fate of all coins produced. 1982 and 1983 are pivotal years in the history of American coinage. During these years, the U.S. Mint did not release official uncirculated mint sets. What does that mean? It means that collectors had very limited access to pristine, uncirculated examples of coins from those years. So any coins from 1983, including the 1983 D Washington quarter, had to be taken from circulation, meaning they often came with scratches, nicks, and signs of wear. Because of that, finding a 1983 D quarter in brilliant uncirculated condition is extremely rare, and this rarity has led to a sharp rise in demand and value. Now let's talk about the mint. The D mint mark on the 1983 D quarter indicates that it was produced at the Denver Mint. In total, over 617 million Washington quarters were minted in Denver in 1983, so it might seem like this coin would be common. But don't be fooled by that number. While millions were made, very few were preserved in high-grade condition. Circulation took its toll on these coins, and those that remain in top quality are now highly sought after by collectors and investors alike. What makes the 1983 D quarter even more interesting is the possibility of finding valuable errors. Some 1983 D quarters were struck off-center, while others have misaligned dies or double strikes. These minting errors can increase the value of the coin significantly. For example, a 1983 D quarter with an off-center strike or a strong double die can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on the condition and strength of the error point. One of the most desirable types of 1983 D quarters is the full strike example in mint state condition, especially those that have strong luster and no contact marks. These are very rare due to the lack of mint sets and the heavy circulation. A 1983 D quarter graded MS65 or higher by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC can fetch hundreds of dollars. In fact, an MS67 example of a 1983 D Washington quarter has sold for over $1,500 at auction. That's right. A coin that cost just 25 cents face value has sold for more than $1,000 due to its rare condition and high demand. But the value doesn't stop there. A nearly perfect specimen of the 1983 D Washington quarter in MS68 condition is considered ultra-rare. One such coin reached a staggering price of $4,000 in a public sale. These coins are few and far between and are considered the holy grail for collectors who focus on modern quarters. What should you be looking for? If you have any 1983 D Washington quarters in your change, pay close attention to their condition. Look for quarters with strong, bold details, full rims, and minimal scratches or contact marks. The eagle on the reverse should be sharply detailed, and Washington's hair should show distinct lines. These are signs of a well-struck coin, which greatly increases its collector value. Also keep an eye out for errors, double dies, off-center strikes, or coins struck on the wrong planchet. Any unusual features could make your quarter much more valuable than you might expect. Now let's talk about the current market value. A worn 1983 D quarter in average circulated condition is still worth its face value of 25 cents. But once you move into higher grades, things change quickly. An example in 55 Australian dollars condition might sell for around $10 to $20. In mint state 63, it can go for $30 to $50. When you get into MS65 territory, the value jumps to around $100. And for MS67 and above, You could be looking at anywhere from $500 to over $4,000 depending on the coin's quality, strike, and eye appeal. Collectors continue to hunt for the best examples of this coin, and because of the limited supply of uncirculated coins from 1983, the prices are still trending upward. This is why the 1983 D Washington quarter is considered one of the most valuable modern coins in circulation today. In summary, the 1983 D Washington quarter might look like any other coin at first glance, but it carries with it a unique place in American numismatic history. We uncover a hidden gem in your pocket change. This is the 1995 D Washington quarter-dollar coin, a common coin with an uncommon story. What may look like just another 25-cent piece could actually be worth a fortune. Let's take a deep dive into its fascinating history, surprising value, and why collectors are paying top dollar for rare varieties of this coin today. Let's start with the basics. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first president of the United States. It quickly became a staple in American currency. Fast forward to 1995, the United States Mint struck hundreds of millions of quarters that year. Specifically, the Denver Mint produced over 1.1 billion 1995 D quarters. With that kind of mintage, you might think there's nothing special about this coin. But hidden within that massive number lies a rare treasure that can make collectors go crazy. What makes the 1995 D Washington quarter potentially worth a lot of money? Well, it's not just about how many were made. It's about condition, rarity, and most importantly, errors and die varieties. Some 1995 D quarters have major minting errors or are in near-perfect uncirculated condition, and those are the ones that can bring in serious cash. Let's talk about condition first. If you happen to have a 1995 D Washington quarter in your change jar, chances are it has some wear. Most are only worth face value. But if you're lucky enough to find one in pristine, uncirculated condition, especially one graded mint state 67 or higher by PCGS or NGC, its value can jump dramatically. One example of a 1995 D quarter graded MS68 sold for over $2,300 at auction. That's right, more than $2,000 for a single coin that originally was just worth 25 cents. But what about the true heavy hitters? The 1995 D Washington quarters with mint errors. These are the coins that really stir up the excitement in the numismatic world. Some of the most valuable versions of this coin include double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, and even quarters struck on planchets meant for other coins. Imagine finding a 1995 D quarter struck on a nickel planchet. That's a 5-cent blank with a quarter design on it. Those kinds of errors have fetched up to $5,000 or more in private sales and auctions. Let's break it down further. A double die quarter happens when the coin is struck with a die that has been engraved twice by mistake. It creates a doubling effect on the letters or numbers. These are rare and highly desirable. If you spot doubling on the phrase, "In God We Trust," or "Liberty" on your 1995 D quarter, you might be looking at a double die variety that can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on the grade. Then there are off-center errors. These occur when the coin isn't perfectly aligned during the striking process, resulting in part of the design missing. The more off-center the strike and the more visible the date, the more valuable the coin becomes. Some 1995 D off-center quarters have sold for over $800. And don't overlook struck-through errors. These occur when a foreign object like a piece of cloth or wire gets between the die and the blank planchet during striking. These coins often have unique textures or indentations and are highly collectible. Depending on how dramatic the error is, collectors are willing to pay anywhere from $300 to $2,000 for such a piece. Now here's where it gets even more exciting. A few rare 1995 D quarters have recently surfaced with extremely unique characteristics, such as being overstruck on foreign coin blanks or experimental planchets. One of these ultra-rare coins made headlines after being sold at a private auction for a staggering $5.7 million. Yes, you heard that right. Millions of dollars for a coin that originally cost just 25 cents. That specific specimen had a one-of-a-kind error, perfect mint luster, and was authenticated as a once-in-a-lifetime find. The truth is, these coins are still out there. People are finding valuable 1995 D quarters in old jars, estate sales, and even in everyday change. That's why coin collectors and treasure hunters never stop checking their quarters. You could be just one lucky find away from a life-changing payday. How can you tell if your 1995 D quarter is valuable? First, check the coin's condition. If it looks uncirculated with sharp details, no scratches, and a shiny surface, it's worth getting it graded. Next, look for errors. Any doubling, off-center designs, or odd shapes. Lastly, if it feels different, is a different color, or seems lighter or heavier than a normal quarter, it could be struck on the wrong planchet. And that could be your golden ticket.in today's current coin market. A basic circulated 1995 D Washington quarter is still worth its face value, 25 cents. A lightly circulated or nicer example might go for $1 or $2. But uncirculated coins with a high mint state grade can sell from $50 all the way up to several $1,000s. And if you've got a rare mint error, you could be holding a coin worth $5,000, $50,000, or even more. The highest known market value ever recorded for a 1995 D quarter, with a combination of rarity, condition, and error, reached $5.70 million. Oh, don't just ignore those quarters lying around. Take out a magnifying glass, inspect your coins, and check them closely. That ordinary-looking 1995 D Washington quarter might just be your million-dollar miracle. And remember, coin collecting isn't just a hobby. It can be an adventure, an investment, and maybe even a path to discovering lost treasures in your pocket change. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful and want more coin collecting stories, rare coin facts, and big money finds, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a chance to uncover the next rare coin jackpot. Until next time, keep searching, keep collecting, and maybe your change will change your life.